You understand this emotional scale, and on one end of it is appreciation and love and all those things that feel so good, and perception of freedom, empowerment. On the other end is discouragement and despair, fear, similar vibrations, and perception of disempowerment, and then all the emotions in between. If you've been meditating, you've been painting, you've been basking, you've been in the garden, you've been listening to the birds, you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you're feeling wonderful. And then you turn your attention out of commitment or obligation to someone who is usually in depression. The vibrational frequency is such that you cannot help them. Not because you're bad, not because you're not good at what you do, but because law of attraction says your frequency is here. It's just like setting the radio dial on a different, there can be no communication. So we just want you to understand what's happening. And we hope that as we have given you this description of where you get often and your inability to be heard by those there will give you the freedom to not give a rip so much about where they are, because you can't help them anyway. And it doesn't make you bad because you try. Look what has happened to Michael Jackson. It is the quintessential example of someone who had a vibration going on here, who wanted to help somebody who had a vibration going on there. And look at the backlash that it has brought him as he has brought those people into his life who are incapable of knowing what he knows. And the more time he spent with them, the more his vibration began to shift to what they are about. You see, it is nothing about what they are telling you in the media. It is about vibrational discord that has come about by some well-meaning person trying to help someone that he was incapable of helping. And he thought he could compensate with his ranch, with his money, with his jets, with his power, with his contacts, with his desire. He thought he could help them. He can't. No one can. You cannot hear what's being broadcast on 630 when your tuner is set on a different frequency. Law of attraction will not accommodate you, you see. So give it up.
Thank you. That was fabulous.
Yes. You are source energy beings, and most of you aren't living up to it or anything close. You are love in vibrational form, and most of you are not even coming close to the love that is truly who you are. In other words, the potential for satisfaction, the potential for a deep and satisfying life experience, the potential for being who you really are, and the satisfaction factor that comes along with that is enormous, you see. And as you begin to contemplate this vortex and you make it an actual goal that you are reaching for, and you begin to pay attention to whether you're in it or whether you're out of it, and of course the line has to be blurred because it's going to keep moving. Your standards keep getting better. But if your quest is to continually be the fullest that you can be on subject after subject, you will then be living up to the fullness that you've intended, and you get to be the culmination of all that you were before you came into this body, and you get to receive the in the moment, in this lifetime, benefit of all this contrast and what it has caused you to evolve to. We so want you to appreciate your participation in all of this, but you can't do that without acknowledging that there are two vibrational aspects of you that are playing off of one another constantly. And when you put that into perspective, then everything that you are living makes sense to you. Everything that everyone else is living makes sense to you. Esther watches on television with so many other millions of people what happened with Michael Jackson, and she has no question whatsoever about how that all came down, because she and everyone else has heard enough about it to understand pretty well where he was in the vicinity of his vortex. In other words, it's not hard to figure that out. It's not hard to understand the contrast of his life and what it parlayed. It's not hard to understand who he was and what he often felt when he was in a presentation mode. It's not hard to understand that what it felt like for him to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and how awful it felt to not be in that place. It's not hard to understand how he asked for alignment and asked for alignment and asked for alignment, and could only, because of what he was focused upon, actually find that alignment through the death or croaking experience. Everything on the planet makes sense to you once you understand the vortex of creation and your human response or relationship to it. There are no more mysteries. Everything makes sense.